So what's going on? It's Ty at Bets N Banter. I'm your host. So what we're going to be talking about is the NCAA championship. The first championship of the 12-man college or the 12-team college schedule. However they're doing it now, which I thought was pretty cool. We're also going to talk about this week's AFC NFC Divisional Round in the playoffs. We're going to get into some of that. As you can see, oh my God, it was eventful this week. As you can see, Lamar, oh my goodness, just disappointing with the Ravens. Jalen Daniels, that boy can ball. He can ball out. Let me tell you, he's the truth. He's everything that Chicago wanted, and they missed out because they picked Caleb Williams, the guy who's overly confident without the type of weapons around him to be that. He's good. He's just not that guy. He needs a supporting cast. And Chicago is not that supporting cast. So nonetheless, I want to get into, first and foremost, I want to get into the college football championship tonight. Man, Notre Dame played horribly in the beginning. I mean, that first drive when they came out, they played pretty well. Let me look at some of my notes that I took for this game. And as you can see here, like Notre Dame, they came out swinging. That first drive was crazy, right? They came out, they was running the ball extremely well. Riley seemed super confident. He was running the ball well. I just didn't understand why Notre Dame continued to do like quarterback draws and sweeps. Like, I just didn't understand it. They weren't using any of the weapons around them. They just thought that they were going to win against Ohio State, the best team in the country. Arguably the best team in the country. They thought that they were going to run the quarterback consistently up the middle and towards the edge against Ohio State. This team done paid $20 million for all the players around them. Everybody's pretty much a 5-star. Like, how long you think that's going to last? Look, you had Riley going over to the sideline after that drive, and he just was like throwing up. He was gassed. Like, imagine taking them hits for that many times. He ran 18 plays, I believe. I think it was 18 plays that first drive. They scored, and after that, they were quiet for pretty much the rest of a majority of the game. They started to pick up more in the second half. But nonetheless, it just was not it for them. I just don't understand what the goal was behind that. Like, what were they thinking about this, right? What was the big deal? And then you had Jeremiah Smith, he wasn't open all game, but when it counted, the boy was open. And why are we leaving the best receiver open? The best receiver arguably in the nation right now, even being a freshman, he's balling. Like, he can go to the league right now. Like, he can go to the league right now. And what I'm trying to understand is that first play, Chip Kelly threw a nice little trickaroo, because when they did that motion and he came back, he pretty much just walked into the end zone. He had nobody there to stop him. I'm not sure what was going on. What was the miscommunication on defense for Notre Dame that caused them to miss that or not to make the adjustment? It's just like they just let it go. And then the defensive back who was trailing him in the motion, he got lost in the sauce. Like, he continued to run across the field like, okay, just leave him uncovered. Like, you were supposed to leave eyes on him at all times. You don't ever leave Jeremiah Smith alone at all. Under no circumstances are you supposed to leave this kid alone. It just makes no sense. Anyways, we get back into it. Let's talk about how Notre Dame's defensive line had absolutely no pressure. Will Howard had all day to throw in the pocket. He was sitting back there making a hot pocket. I caught him. I saw him. He actually put it in the microwave, let it cook, beeped, and then he threw a pass. Ohio State is a juggernaut. We understand that. But Notre Dame is also a juggernaut. Like, there's no exception to the rules. There's juggernaut against juggernaut. And it just seemed that Notre Dame's defensive line was not capable of putting pressure on Will Howard, like at all. They weren't able to put any type of pressure on him. He had no. I don't even think they got any sacks tonight or any rushes for that fact of the matter. Like, the boy was back there taking naps, spinning around, dancing, auditioning for Dancing with the Stars. He was doing all this in the pocket, and Notre Dame had no answer for it. I'm just not understanding what was going on with that. They didn't make any adjustments. The pressure that they were sending was not being received. It was send back to messenger, or however you do it. However the post office does it, return to sender. That's pretty much what the pressure was doing as far as, that goes. I don't know what happened with their pressure tonight. Their defensive line was non-existent as far as putting pressure on him. Next, so that was the zero pressure. Then we had Riley Leonard, I believe I'm saying his name correctly, but he just seemed unsettled all game. It felt like he was running for his life all game. He was completely inaccurate for at least 80% of his passes. He just was throwing them. He was throwing them shits. I don't even his receivers were even looking frustrated. Like, what is going on, my boy? What are you doing? Like, relax. He was never settled in the pocket throughout the whole game. He needed to relax, get some composure. After that first drive, he was already gassed. And then for the rest of the game after that, it just seemed like he was running for his life. In certain cases, unnecessarily. Like, what? Like, relax, bro. Get your composure, chill out, and let's let the play form. Like, let it build. Like what are we doing? This not backyard football. Like, we put things into place for a reason. But you out here playing frantic, scared. Of course, I know you don't want to get hit, but sometimes you got to sit back there for a little bit. You're not even giving it 4 seconds. Like, as soon as you snap the ball, you running for your life. Like, oh, help me. Like, I'm not. Anyways, whatever. Then I want to say Jenkins, he played extremely well. Had 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He balled out. That's what he usually does. That's what is expected from Ohio State, right? They always have, historically, they always have extremely good running backs, right? So that's nothing to, harp on. He's supposed to get 100 yards. He's supposed to have 2 touchdowns. The offense is not. No, I will say that the offense is pretty much like surrounded around that, right? He opens it up for Jeremiah Smith because they're afraid of the run, which gives him the ability to get open a lot more because he can run the ball. Like, he has moves. If you played NCAA 2025, you see they had to patch the game for the spin move, but he's really like that. Like, he gets busy. So does Jeremiah Smith. He played an amazing game. Well, this wasn't even his best game as far as the college playoffs went. Like, he's been balling out the whole college playoffs, and this was this game he seemed to be chill. Like, he wasn't even worried about it. Like, if I get it, I get it. It is what it is. Let everybody else shine. Let them get their light. But when it came to him making big plays and doing what he needed to do, he did that. He made those plays. He came clutch. He was definitely reliable and made those catches, especially putting the game away towards the end. That catch was major. It put the fork in Notre Dame. Even though Notre Dame played a pretty bad game early on, they started to come back later on in the game, which was great. This was about to be one of the greatest comebacks in Notre Dame history. National championship, set the tone for years to come. Smack Ohio State in the face because they spent all this money in the portal getting all the players and all the great players to come to Ohio State. Like, they were supposed to win this game. Like, undeniably they're supposed to win this game. If they would have lost this game after spending $20 million on a roster, there would have been some big coach changes. That's ultimately what it would have been. It would have been major changes in Ohio State if that would happen, because y'all spent all this money. Yeah, y'all did make it to the national championship, but y'all almost didn't, because y'all lost to Michigan at home, which was like, what? How did y'all lose to Michigan and y'all blowing everybody out all year? So losing that game to Michigan, starting at the 8th seed, coming up, playing all the way throughout the playoffs, beating Oregon, which was high powered, but we all knew Oregon was gonna fail at some point in time. That usually happens with teams who are like that. Like Oregon, they never show up when they need to. Like in those games that matter, against competition that matters, they usually don't show up. And now that they're in a conference that's known for playing defense, this year they came in, did their thing, but I don't see that being the norm for them, because they're playing against teams who play defense. The Big Ten Conference is known for defensive teams and teams that play defense pretty well, right? So they're not going to just be blowing people out for the next couple of years. It's just not going to happen. Like they have Penn State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Ohio State now. Like they have these teams who are known for playing defense really well. So they're not just going to be blowing people out in the Big Ten. But enough about the Ducks. We're going back to Ohio State and Notre Dame. Nonetheless, Notre Dame was supposed to win this game. Hats off to them. If they didn't win this, it was going to be a lot of changes. So they needed this win. Notre Dame is doing good. They did great as far as coming back into the game. Missing that field goal played a big role, and letting Jeremiah Smith catch that pass towards the end put the fork in us. If they were able to get that stop, it would have probably went into overtime. Good chance of winning to overtime, and with the momentum, Notre Dame would have won it. And then all Ohio State fans would have been crying with their $20 million roster. But it is what it is. The college season is over. It was super exciting. Of course, I was watching Colorado a lot of the time because, you got to go with Coach Prom. You got to go with Coach Prom. You know what I'm saying? If you're not on that bandwagon, I don't know what you on, because that's everything about culture and just being part of, building something from the ground up. Last year, they did not do great. This year, they did extremely well considering what they did last year, made it to a bowl game. They didn't win. BYU was a much more prepared team and better put together team. And I also think Arizona State would have beat them as well, just because they are just more prepared. In my eyes, they were more prepared teams. They're more equipped than Colorado at this point. But moving into the future, how the recruiting classes are going as far as what Prom is doing up there, Ohio's going to be something to be reckoned with over the next couple of years, especially if Prom stays there. I hope he doesn't do no bull crap and go over to the NFL following his son and Travis. I just don't think is a place for him to be at. I think he needs to stay there and harbor and foster those kids up there and over there in Colorado. I think that's the place for him and where he needs to stay. But that's it for college football. We're wrapping that up. So I'm going to get into some of the NFL. This was the divisional round of the NFL. So it was the NFC AFC divisional round. So the games we had was KC versus the Texans. Then we had the Commanders versus the Lions, Rams versus Eagles, and then we had Lamar, the Ravens versus the Bills, right? So let's take a look at these games, right? Let's start for the first week. Well, I forgot. Like I said, this is also Bets N Banter, right? So I forgot to put the bet part in there. So for that national championship game, I did put my bet on the money line for Notre Dame, but I did something unusual because, as you all know, betting is never personal. What you like, your team that you like, a player that you like, we go off of our advantages. But tonight, just for fun, I went for Notre Dame just for the culture. Fuck it. I'm going to just be completely honest. That's what I went for, the culture. I wanted to see Notre Dame win, and that's who I wanted to bet for. Ohio State was the not the underdog. They were picked to win. Like, everybody thought that they were going to win. They were the favorite. They were supposed to win that game. They did. If Notre Dame would have won, I would have won that bet. I put a little $50 on it with the boost, 50% profit boost. What was that? As a matter of fact, let's see. Caesars. Let's get into that. So that was, oh, it's not telling me what. Oh, it was a plus 165 for $50. We would have won 90 on top of that. So it was a pretty decent bet if it would have went through. It didn't. So that's that. We'll get into these other games and we'll go through the bets for those as well. But we're starting with that first divisional game. So let's get into that Texas versus Kansas City game. Oh, this game it felt, to me, I'm a KC fan. I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 with you. I'm a KC fan, like all the way. I'm Mahomes all day, right? But I see that there's a trend going on right now in the NFL where KC keeps getting bailed out off of like bullshit, and these refs is just calling bullshit, like the defensive hit on Mahomes was not roughing the passer. Like, that was just straight bullshit. And they keep getting bailed out with dumbass calls like this. And it's just ridiculous. And it puts a bad taste in my mouth because I like KC. I want them to win, but I want them to win legitimately. Like, I don't want the refs to help them to win. They don't need it. Like, they are the defending champions back to back, as a matter of fact. They're going for a three-peat right now. So they do not need to be getting assistance from the refs. Like, I just don't like the calls. The calls are just completely biased. Like, I don't like it. The refs are playing a big role in KC's success this year. And you can see it in the playoffs. They're definitely, they putting a skirt on Mahomes. Like, you can't even tap him. Like, it was a meme that I posted on my page, and you see it. And the difference between how the refs call for Mahomes, you could tap Mahomes and they're calling unnecessary roughness or some BS call. Also, with this, the offsides call with I believe it's the tackles that they've been attacking so crazy this year. It's just ridiculous. They've called Casey on it sometimes, but I feel that they prioritize other teams, especially teams playing against Casey, to call this offsides penalty. I just don't like it. It puts a bad taste in my mouth. It's not good for the sport. It's bad sportsmanship. You guys are favoriting KC and y'all helping them win a lot of games. They should have lost a few games this year, but of course, the refs bailed them out. But nonetheless, let's get into a little bit what happened. Kelsey played his ass off, and I personally, I like Kelsey, but over the past few years, I believe he's gotten extremely too cocky for my liking. That's just my personal opinion. I like the guy. He plays good, but I don't like unnecessary cockiness. Like, I don't like when people are unnecessarily mean or nasty to people for no reason. And just certain clips that has come out, especially when he did the thing with the kicker, throwing his equipment, and I just don't like it. I don't like stuff like that. It gives off bully. Like, I don't like bullies. Bullies aggravate me, like, because there's no reason to be a bully. So nonetheless, Kelsey had 7 receptions, 117 yards, 1 touchdown. We actually put a bet in on Kelsey. I knew he was going to hit on that. The Kelsey one, we put that in as a live bet, as a matter of fact. Let me see, where is it? Yeah, so Kelsey, we put this live bet in. It was for him to get over 92 plus 5 yards. The reason why we put this bet in on a live bet, when Kelsey got that first bomb pass, it put him at like 74 yards in the game, right? So Kelsey is Mahomes' safety net, right? He's gonna always throw to Kelsey when something's going wrong, or if he needs help, if he needs to get out the way, or if he needs to just throw that quick little pass, he's gonna give it to Kelsey. And Kelsey's slippery, like he do his thing. He's always going to get loose at some point in time in the game. It's just a given. He was starting out in the beginning of the year a little bit slow, but as the year picked up, he started to pick up, because with all the injuries, he needs to show up and start balling, because this is what we pay you for. We pay you to catch the ball. You need to go out there and start producing. So he's been producing. So we put that bet in. That was a pretty decent bet. We put it in. It was 113. It's negative 113, right? We put $56 on that. We won $105 off of that. So we pretty much doubled our money. But I knew that was a definite hit, especially how early it happened in the game. I knew he was going to hit over that 92.5. I knew he was going to hit over that. It's just a given. Like, Mahomes is not going to throw to Kelsey, especially when he's already hot. He doesn't have many receivers to go. And Xavier Worthy was playing horrible that game. He was not performing at all. He was not giving a good game. He was not playing a good game at all. Not what he's traditionally known to do, right? He's usually reliable. He did not play well. I believe he had like 2 important drops too. Nonetheless, it's okay. You're allowed to have an off day as an athlete, right? It happens, right? It is just not always going to be the way that you want it to be. It's just not going to happen that way. Kareem Hunt, super happy for this guy. He came back to Kansas City to help out the injuries with Isaiah Pacheco. Pacheco didn't really play that much this game. I saw that. I don't think Pacheco's 100%. I think he's rushing his injury. I think he needs to chill out before he does something more permanent, and he's just out of here after that. You know what I'm saying? I think he just needs to chill, let Kareem Hunt take it over for the rest of the year, or until the rest of the time for this playoffs, right? Because I don't see it happening that KC doesn't go to the Super Bowl again. Not with the way that these refs are playing for them and helping them out. I just don't see that happening. But I think Kareem Hunt needs to carry the rest of the load, because Isaiah Pacheco, hasn't really been the same since that injury, and I think he needs to give it a little bit more time, especially for this year. I think he just needs to chill out before he does something more damaging than what he's already done. But Kareem Hunt, he had a pretty good game. He had 8 carries, 44 yards, and an important touchdown. So I count that as that important touchdown, because without that, KC probably loses this game. They don't get it. But he had a critical touchdown. KC defense showed up. That's all I can say. They showed up when it mattered. They did what they had to do. They made the stops that were necessary to get them to where they had to go, and get them necessary. And the stops, they came outside of what the refs were doing. KC defense has improved extremely over the last 2-3 years, right? Let's forget about the Super Bowl. The defense has picked up over the last 2.5 years. Let's say 3 years. The last 3 years, KC's defense is completely different now, right? KC, that used to be their kryptonite. Their defense used to be their kryptonite. They used to be able to put up big numbers, and then their defense couldn't fucking save a fucking. They couldn't save shit. They couldn't get them out of anything. You understand what I'm saying? KC had to outscore you pretty much in every game that they played, because that's essentially how they were built. They were built to be a high scoring offense, and the defense just fell short all the time. So that's why they had to outscore you so much. They just had to outscore you. But now KC can, this whole year it wasn't necessarily an outscoring type of a thing with them. They actually had a lot of close games that the refs helped them out with. But outside of that defense held up. And Chris Jones, he's just a beast. Like, he shows up. Anytime they need a big play on defense, he shows up. And he showed up this weekend too. So that's kudos to him. So Mahomes, he played a decent game. I wouldn't say it's his it wasn't a stellar game for him. He had 177 yards, 16 out of 25 and one touchdown. So yeah, he had 177 yards, 16 out of 25 for one touchdown. He did what he had to do in the Mahomes way. Still continue to ball out. I like Mahomes. I like him. I like his character. I like what he's done. I like where he's came from. I like that, he faced adversity before he became Mahomes. Mahomes was losing. He wasn't making it. He was pretty much doing what Lamar's doing, making it there and losing in the round that he shouldn't be losing it. But now he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. 3-time Super Bowl champion, going for a fourth ring, which I think is very likely for him to get this year. So we'll see if Mahomes does that. He's already goated, but he's going to be super goated if he gets that, right? The youngest quarterback to ever do it. I think it's possible, and I wouldn't mind seeing it, especially since Lamar's out now. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing it. The only person I would want to see win the chip over him is Jaden Daniels. That is it. Outside of that, I don't even care about anybody else winning it besides those two. Nah, I take that back. My boy Jalen Hurts. I wouldn't mind seeing Jalen Hurts win it too. So I got 3 quarterbacks that I wouldn't mind winning, but to prioritize them all, I ultimately Jaden Daniels I would want to see win more, right? Rookie of the year, coming into Washington, who has historically not been good for the last few years, comes in and wins a Super Bowl. Crazy. Yesterday price is not today's price. Once he does that, it's over. Contract restructure. You're going to get more people wanting to come to the Commanders. I hope they change their name back to the Redskins, because this Commanders name is trash. Who idea was this? Who said we had a problem with the Redskins name? No, we did not agree to that. I don't know who agreed to this. Anyways, like I was saying, out of the two, I would want to see Jalen Daniels. I hope I'm saying his name right. Yeah, Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts over Mahomes, right? But Mahomes is the third because he already got 3 Super Bowls. He needs to let somebody else get one at this point. That's just how I feel. He needs to let somebody else get a Super Bowl. But if he gonna do it, he better get it. That's a 3-peat. The 3-peat. I think I could be wrong, but I think that would be the first time in NFL any team does a 3-peat. That would be super dope. Joe Mixon, to close it out, Joe Mixon, he played pretty well. 18 carries, 188 yards, 1 touchdown. He did really good. He did really good. CJ Stroud played well. He just didn't have the game. I'm not even going to say the game. He just didn't have the pieces around him that he needed. He needed both of those receivers. He needed Stephon Diggs, and I forgot the other guy's name. He definitely needed them. If he would have had them, he would have had more weapons, and he would have been able to spread out the offense a lot more. KC would have had more to worry about with Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon doing what he had to do, and I forgot the other guy's name. I'm sorry that I forgot his name. But if he would have had his 2-star receivers in, plus Joe Mixon, they would have been a lot more competition for KC, possibly even beating KC, because he would have had the weapons. Because CJ Stroud played extremely well. He threw for 245 yards, 19 out of 38. His completions could have been a lot better, but you got to understand he wasn't playing with his starters. So it is what it is. If he would have had his starters, I believe they would have been a lot more competition for KC, and they could have possibly beat them. But that was the bet for that KC game. I want to move on to the next game. Yeah. So that was that game. So now I want to move on to the Commanders and versus the Lions. Oh my goodness. This boy Jaden Daniels is the truth. When I tell you the truth, he's been the truth all year. He has big game ability. He's cold as ice. I mean, you can't rattle him. He's calm. He's in the pocket. He out there playing. He's out there playing backyard football in the NFL. I'm going to just keep it super official. He is the truth. Like I said in the beginning of this, he is everything Chicago wanted in Caleb Williams, and they missed it because they picked Caleb Williams. I mean, I personally don't care for Caleb Williams. I didn't even really care for him in college. I just felt like, again, he's too cocky. He's too cocky. I just don't like. I don't like that persona of Jaden Daniels. I'll keep saying his name wrong. My apologies, but Jaden Daniels is confident and composed. Right? He know who he is. Like, he's not trying to convince you about who he is. He is who he is. Look at he had like 3 games this year where he won it on the last play of the game. That, that's a big deal. A lot of quarterbacks can't do that. Only great quarterbacks do stuff like that. They bring their team back, get put in a position to win the game, and they actually come in and win the game for their team, right? And Jaden Daniels has proven to do that multiple times this year, and now you see he came in with playing against the number 1 seed, Detroit, who has been mollywopping people this year. Despite their injuries on defense, Detroit has been mollywopping people all year. They have been the team to beat. They have been explosive. They have used trickery. They have done things this year that people have not seen in the NFL ever at all. I commend the coaching staff, honestly, because they are bringing this new fast-paced offense and defense to the NFL. They're going for it on 4 like they playing PS5. Like people, the coaches hate them. Like, why are you going for it on 4th down? Like, they hate them. But all hats off to Detroit and Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he left there he was booted from LA to go over to Detroit. And they welcome him with open arms, and he's actually been balling out of here. But we want to go back to Jaden Daniels, the Rookie of the Year. Put the belt on him, Rookie of the Year. And if he wins the Super Bowl, I honestly think he's supposed to get MVP if he wins the Super Bowl as a rookie. I don't care. Fight me. It is what it is. But what I'm gonna say to you about Jaden Daniels. He's that guy. That's it. He's that guy. He's confident. He's a leader, for one, because his team is rallying behind him. He got McLaurin. McLaurin looking like somebody now. McLaurin's been a good player. He just hasn't had that quarterback, that piece to make him who he is. And did you see that play by McLaurin? Boy, he turned the Jets on that catch. Little dump. Was it a screen? I think it was a screen, or maybe it was a little dump off. But whatever the case may be, he broke that tackle. It was like a little double tackle, and he turned the Jets on. It was the bye-bye, sayonara. They having fun over there in Washington right now. The DMV is happy. The DMV is ultimately happy because now they have 2 teams that are contenders. They have the Washington Commanders, which needs to be turned back to the Redskins because this Commanders shit is whack. But nonetheless, they have the Washington Commanders and the Baltimore Ravens, who are two contenders now, which is also always, the city's always been divided between them two teams over there in the DMV. But now that they are both contenders to win some shit, at least Washington is still in contingency to win some shit. Baltimore going to be Baltimore. They always going to be where they need to be at. They just need to finish, right? Because they have a finishing problem. But nonetheless, they are two contenders now. So it's a fun time to be in the DMV right now because they have two contenders, two young black quarterbacks who are actually balling out right now. Now, I'm just hoping Jaden Daniels can continue to build off of the success, and I hope the Redskins, see what I'm saying? They need to be called the Redskins. That sounds a lot better than the Commanders. Nonetheless, the Commanders need to put some more pieces around him, make sure that offensive line stays healthy or build it up a little bit more. Their defensive side, I know they got Bobby Wagner. I just don't know much of their pieces on defense, but their defense seems to be pretty decent and solid for where they are right now, right? They got to be some sort of defensively solid to be in the divisional final round, right? The NFC? Yeah, NFC Divisional Round, right? The divisional playoff championship, NFC Divisional Championship right now, right? They defense got to be somewhat decent, right? I know that they are if they got Bobby Wagner. Like I said, I know that they have Bobby Wagner in there. He's a super veteran. He's won a Super Bowl before with the Seahawks. He's played with greatness before. He knows what it's like to be on a good team. So I'm sure his pedigree is running through that locker room right now. And people are, they're coming together because they have something going on in Washington right now. The coaching staff and the new ownership, they're putting something together over there in Washington that's turning out to be pretty good. Now, I've never been a Washington fan, but I'm definitely a Jaden Daniels fan. So let's get into what this boy what he did. He threw for 22 for 33, 299 yards. I swear to you, no lie, those bet lines was up to like 300 and 380, 390 because the boy had 210 yards by halftime. And most of them yards came in the first quarter because he was slinging. He was slinging that joint throughout the whole game. He was slinging it like he was unstoppable. He was not missing. As you can see that throwing 22 for 33, he was slinging the rock. You understand what I'm saying? He was slinging the rock. It is undeniably the truth. Next we'll go into Jared Goff. He's always consistent, right? He gonna play his game. He gonna do what he got to do, but you cannot throw 3 interceptions in the NFL and think that you're gonna win. Turnovers matter in the NFL. You cannot turn the ball over 3 times and think that you're gonna win. He threw for 23 over 40. His completion rate could have been a little bit better, but it is what it is. You cannot throw 3 interceptions. He threw for 313 yards, 1 touchdown. Them 3 intos doomed. When I say doomed, it doomed Detroit, right? Because it's so much your defense could do if you keep giving the ball to the other team. No matter how many times we stop them, if you keep giving them the ball, there's nothing we can do about that because they're going to score. You turn the ball over 3 times, they're going to probably get at least 1 touchdown off of that, right? And if the offense is already moving crazy and they moving at will and throwing the ball crazy and doing what they got to do and running well, you're going to lose. There's no way that you can catch up. There's not enough time left. Jared Goff, Detroit, I'm sure Detroit still loves you. They're happy to have a quality quarterback, just like how they had in Matt Stafford. They got another good quarterback in you, right? But you cannot turn the ball over 3 times. I don't care. I don't care who you are. You cannot turn the ball over 3 times. It's going to doom your team every time. Gibbs did really well too. he has been balling all year. Him and Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles, they've been doing their thing all year, right? They're part of why running backs are not being devalued anymore. Them, Henry, and Saquon Barkley have turned up this year. So the devaluing of running backs should be over with now. As long as they can continue to do this next year as well, because I don't see how any team is devaluing running backs. You need running backs, especially during playoff time. Like right now, you need a running back to carry the ball for. You need to be able to control the clock, and that is what a running back is going to do. If he could get 4 to 5 yards per carry, he is going to control that game for you. So I don't see how you want to devalue that. I know it's a passing league right now, which is all right. Pass the ball, do what you got to do, but pay these people, pay these men, pay them their money. We don't want to hear none of that shit. Pay them their money. Saquon contract this year is not equivalent to what he's doing right now. He's supposed to be getting paid way more than what he's getting paid right now. But we ain't going to get into their pockets. But pay that man. That's all. I don't want to hear nothing. Pay him, Henry, if his contract ain't right, pay them. They carrying these teams. Pay them. So anyway, Sonic and Knuckles. Montgomery ain't really played too much, right? So Montgomery also coming off an injury that I think he needs to let heal a little bit more so that he can become and continue to be as dynamic as he is. But Sonic and Knuckles definitely do their thing. And Gibbs did his thing. He did his thing. 14 carries, 105 yards, 2 touchdowns. Balled out. Seemed like every time he touched the ball, he was going for about 6 yards each carry or more. But the boy is fast. Like he hits the hole crazy in the hole. Like, so it's just a given. He's consistently did that all year. Like all year he's done that. That's one of the reasons why Detroit has been good, right? So they had Sonic and Knuckles, and then they also had the reliable Amon St. Brown, who's also a beast, right? He does his thing. He started out a little bit slow in this game, but he's a reliable receiver. Like, he's always going to be reliable. When you need him, he's going to show up. When you need that big catch in a game, he's going to show up. He's going to do what he needs to do, right? Amon St. Brown, he had 8 receptions, 137 yards. See what I mean? Like, he's reliable. He's going to get you those yards. He's going to put you in position to score. Ultimately, he's going to put you in the position to score. So the combination between Amon St. Brown and Sonic and Knuckles, they're going to get you. He going to get you close, and they're going to finish. They're going to seal the deal. And then you got Jared Goff. When he's not throwing 3 intos, that's a winning recipe right there. That's a winning recipe right there. And that's why they did so good. That's why they were the first seed. But, you know, being the first seed is actually a curse. It's actually a curse. When you're the first seed, unless you KC and you're the first seed, you're probably going to lose that first game. You're probably going to lose it. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Like, that's all I could say about that. Let me see. Did we put a bet in on this game? Because I want to see what the bet was for this one. Let me see. Boom, 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 boom. Allen. We'll get into that one. Saquon, Jalen. No. Jaden Daniels. Yeah, we did. So we put Jaden Daniels because, like I said, he was balling out. So I put Jaden Daniels in at 277 yards plus 277.5 yards. I put this in as a live bet. Negative 117. I put $100 wager on that. We won $85 off it, which totaled out to 185 in total that we won off of that. So that live bet played out. Jaden Daniels was balling out. Like I said, at halftime, your boy had about 210 yards. So it's just a given that they're going to continue to toss the ball. They're going to continue to throw the ball. So I was trying to wait till it came down a little bit more. And the lowest it came down to for me that I was willing to wait for was that 277. I wasn't about to wait to see if it was going to drop more, because as the game goes on, when you live betting and the game is going on, they're going to push that number back up, right? Because they think that he's going to get way more than that. So it would have been like 340, 350. You don't want to get in the bet at that point. You want to get in the bet when that bet line drops down. So as you can see, that bet line dropped down to 277. I believe I put that bet in at halftime because I'm like, yo, we just got to take this because he's going ham right now. And they're also playing Detroit. There's no way Detroit is not going to at least put up a fight and almost come back or something. They're just not going to not do that. It just doesn't happen. It's just not going to happen as far as Detroit. But Detroit fell short. Like I said, you can't win an NFL turnover the ball 3 times, especially not in the playoffs. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Not going to happen. But nonetheless, we won on that one. That was I was happy about that one. I was super, super happy about that one. So that's the cap off that Commanders versus Lions game. We're gonna close that one out. We're gonna head over to the Rams and Eagles now. My boy Jalen Hurts. Hurts, you know what I'm saying? But really, that's Barkley team now. I'm sorry to say it. Fight me. That is Barkley's team now. They all play for Saquon Barkley because y'all think Henry doing something this year. Saquon Barkley is doing numbers this year. Every time he touched the ball, it's like he's going to the end zone every time he touched the ball. The devaluing of the running backs was crazy last year. And the way Saquon turned up this year, it's just ridiculous. First of all, he almost broke the record. If he didn't sit out that Giants game, he would have broke the record. But he decided to sit out against the bum-ass Giants. I don't blame him either, because with the way that things work, he would have ended up probably getting hurt playing against the bum-ass Giants. I'm going to just keep it official. That's what probably would have happened. Then he wouldn't have been ready for the postseason and would have been hurt. Playing more into devaluing running backs. But nonetheless, Saquon, untouchable Barkley. That's what we're going to call him, untouchable. Because although the weather was horrible in Philly, which is great, that is phenomenal football weather, right? How many times do we get a full snow game where you almost cannot see the field? That was for the ages. That was a good classic game there, which I appreciated. I appreciated that game. It was fire. So nonetheless, Barkley, untouchable Barkley. Don't get it twisted. Saquon Barkley is untouchable this year. I'm not going to hold you at all. You know, he's going to get the job done at all. He's carrying the Eagles. He's literally carrying the Eagles. I don't want to hear about no A.J. Brown. He's a beast too. I don't want to hear about Smith. You know, in my opinion, Smith, you know, he's not as consistent as he needs to be. But when he is, he's untouchable. But right now, Saquon is carrying that team. Eagles have a team full of weapons. Like, they have a weapon at every corner. And Saquon just opens that up even more. He allows everyone to get open at this point because they're afraid that Barkley's going to get the ball and he's going to go for 80-yard touchdown, 60-yard touchdown, 40-yard touchdown. Like, this is what he's been doing this year. That's essentially what he's been doing this year. So Saquon had 26 carries for 205 yards, 2 touchdowns, and set an Eagles record. I believe it was the playoff record for the most rushing yards ever. So he's been breaking records all year. He's been breaking all the Eagles records, and I think he found his home. I think that's where he belongs. I know the Giants is mad. But Saquon not. Saquon not, because he wouldn't have been doing this with the Giants. He probably got hurt again playing with the Giants. Because they don't have nobody. You see, they don't have nobody, and they would have got that man hurt again, and he wouldn't be the Saquon that he is now. Saquon was phenomenal at Penn State. we knew he was going to be a phenomenal player in the NFL, but these numbers are crazy. He's breaking records every game almost. So shout out to Saquon. I'm happy to see that you're doing great. I'm happy to see that you are balling out. Pay that man. Pay that man. Like I said, pay that man. Pay him. He needs to be paid. He's carrying the Eagles. So, Jalen Hurts got hurt. The Eagles were running a lot of, quarterback draws, quarterback sweeps, which made sense because it was snowing crazy out there. Passes were not going where they needed to go. It just wasn't happening. Jalen Hurts got hurt. Unfortunately, I'm hoping it's not serious. I'm hoping he's prepared for this week coming. But Jalen Hurts got hurt, and he thugged it out through the whole game. He thugged it out the whole game and got his team to win. Of course, he has to credit his defense. You know what I'm saying? He got to credit the defense. And I believe the defensive line, Carter, he got to credit them. I believe that's his name. If I got it wrong, fight me. Nonetheless, he did what he had to do. He did what he had to do to get his team to win. Also, again, Saquon carrying the Eagles. Put it on his back. That last run, what is that, 80 yards? Come on. Put him on his back to win. You understand? Put him on his back. The Rams are a well-rounded team. They was throwing a rock in the snow like it was a sunny day. Matt Stafford, he's a rare breed. When I tell you reliable quarterback, cookie cutter, out the sheet, with everybody, the ideal quarterback of, most NFL teams, Matt Stafford. He was in Detroit for a long time, didn't really do, he was always putting up numbers, but the team sucked then. They weren't the Detroit Lions that they are now. But nonetheless, they were slinging the ball like it was a sunny day in California in a snow game in Philly. You know what I'm saying? Matt Stafford had... Let's see what Matt Stafford had first before we finish up Jalen Hurts. Matt Stafford had 26 for 44, 324 yards, 2 touchdowns. You got to respect him because Matt Stafford always shows up. He's consistent. He's a consistent quarterback. Like, he's somebody who's going to he's going to run the marathon with you. You are not going to really shut him down. He done seen everything. He done seen every defensive coverage. He done seen every trick that you could try to play on him. He knows it all. He's like a super quarterback. Like, maybe I'm doing a little bit too much, but he's proven this, and he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. So you gotta give him respect off of that alone. He's won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl first year with LA. It is what it is. It is what it is. They had a good defense. They had an amazing defense, as a matter of fact, an amazing defense. But nonetheless, Matt Stafford has always been consistent year in, year out, even when he was with Detroit. And now he's with LA. And LA has been a little rocky this year, in my opinion. They've been a little rocky, especially when Cooper Kupp was hurt. And they only had Puka. Is it Puka? Yeah, Puka. Yeah. When they only had Puka available, they were a little bit rocky, right? So they were like a midway 500 over 500 type of team, midway. But he done brought them to the playoffs, to the divisional round. Matt Stafford, he's going to carry that team. They're going to always make sure that he has pieces. Now that he has Puka there, he has how did I just forget his name? Whatever. The other receiver, they have him. They have the pieces around him to do what they need to do. And this Williams guy, he did pretty good. I didn't really watch him all year. I haven't really paid much attention to him. Didn't really hear much about him, but I looked at his stats before this video. It looks like he's over 1,200 yards in a year, so he's nothing to play with. That's my fault for not paying attention to him or seeing his work and his work ethic or whatever the case may be. But like I said, Williams did pretty good. He carried for 18 carries, 106 yards, in the snow, which is great because it's a snow game. Like, you're supposed to be running the ball. Every running back should have, whatever running back is in and who's the top running back should have over 100 yards in a snow game, because nobody has footing. Everybody should be a Saquon Barkley in the snow. If you leave it up to me, I mean, when I was playing, let me go down memory lane. When I was playing, you heard, the snow, in these snow games I had, people had no footing. So you was going to be good no matter what. Even if you wasn't good, you was going to be good. But Jalen Hurts, like I said, he got hurt. He had 15 for 20 yards, 128 yards. His passing was really off in the game. I don't know if it, in the snow, the balls are heavier. They're not going when they need to go. It just is what it is. That's why Philly was super focused on running him. He got hurt, though, and I hope it doesn't cost him. And I hope it doesn't cost him in this next game. But we definitely put in the bet for this. This game, I actually made a mistake and put in two of the same bets on accident because I was rushing, right? I didn't want to miss something. And this is one of the mistakes I make. I need to set up two phones, right? I need to be looking at two different bets on two different phones so that I don't make mistakes like this. So I put the Jalen Hurts, before he got hurt, I put in his rushing bet. I put a rushing bet in for him before he got hurt. And it was plus 85.5. And then I made a mistake and put it again for 86.5. This before he got hurt. He had 70 yards when I put this bet in. And I believe it was halftime or the beginning of the third quarter. One of the two, right? One of the two I put this in. Then he got hurt. And that was it. He wasn't hitting that after he got hurt. I was confident in it if he didn't get hurt because Philly was going to continue to run him. That's how they was doing. But we messed that up. We messed the bag up on that one, especially since we put it in twice. So the first one we put in for $62. $62 at negative 121. So that was half of that. So we lost that. And then the second one was again for negative 121, but we put in $121 to try to make to make 100. But that was a mistake bet. I wasn't supposed to put that one in. So we got cooked. We got cooked on that one. It's all right. It's part of the game. You got to take your losses. You pay for not paying attention. That's pretty much what it is. Just like in life, you don't pay attention, you're going to miss out or you're going to mess up. And that just is what it is. I ain't trying to teach you nothing here, but I'm trying to teach you something if you get what I'm saying. We also put the Saquon Barkley. So the Saquon Barkley bet that I put in was supposed to be the real bet that I put in, that I made a mistake and put in the Jalen Hurts twice. So that was the Saquon Barkley over 26.5 receiving yards. He won. He got that, of course, but I ain't had that much money in my bank after that time because I set a limit for myself because I'm not chasing bets. I'm setting limits so that I don't chase bets and lose money that I don't need to be losing, because you could definitely get into a cycle of chasing your bets and you're going to lose. That's just is what it is. You take your L and you go to bed. You talk to her about your girl, let her know, hey, I lost. Oh, man, I lost. And let it go. You don't just keep throwing money at it. Don't work that way. Take your bet, take your loss on the chin and go to bed. Have a drink, watch a movie. Don't chase your bets. But anyways, Saquon, he hit that 21.6. I put $8 on it, won $15. Wonk wonk. I won $15. It don't matter, but I was supposed to put, since it was negative 117, I was supposed to put $54 on that, I believe. I'd have won $100 off of that one. So that's how I like to bet, man. I like to bet on high probability things that are more in my favor, right? So that's what I'm always going to go for. Usually it's going to be a live bet. A live bet, something I can pay attention to that I know that's going to hit, right? So that Saquon Barkley I knew was going to hit because they was going to pass the ball, dump the ball off to Saquon Barkley because, again, he is Jalen Hurts' scapegoat. He's going to throw it to him on the scapegoat. He is going to throw it to him on the scapegoat. And that's exactly what he did. Saquon had exactly 27 yards, receiving yards. End of the game. I knew that was going to happen. And I wish I didn't make the mistake, but I did. Can't take it back now. Is what it is. So that is what it is. Eagles should do good. I hope Jalen Hurts is fine. I hope he's not hurt more than what he is already. Hope they can get him prepared for the next game because I don't want to see him flop again like he did last year. That was disappointing. That was disappointing for him. But nonetheless, let's move on to this goddamn Ravens and Bills game. Oh my God. Listen, man. Lamar, I know you tired because I'm tired. I'm tired of y'all dropping the ball. I'm tired of y'all dropping the ball when y'all need to win. You know what I'm saying? All year, y'all thrashing people. Y'all not turning the ball over. You are perfect. Then you come in this game and throw and you fumble the ball. Granted, the weather's bad, but you can't win NFL games turning the ball over. You on top of Mark Andrews, who has been inconsistent this year. I personally think Isaiah likely should have had the starting spot because he's made the plays when they need to be made this year, right? Of course, Mark Andrews, veteran, he has made plays this year, right? When they've mattered, but I believe Isaiah likely has made more, and he's been more consistent, right? And he's had less playing time considering Mark Andrews was hurt for a decent amount of this year, if I'm remembering correctly. But I believe Isaiah likely should have had the opportunities that Mark Andrews had in his game, and I think it would have went a different way. On top of that, we didn't have Zay Flowers because as soon as my boy becomes all pro, he gets a knee knock, and now he's out in one of the most important games of the year. They needed that weapon. They needed him. They needed him to spread out the defense at this point. So he was out. So Lamar was a little bit limited as far as who he can go to as far as receivers, right? So Mark Andrews was definitely one of his main targets. Isaiah likely one of his main targets. And I think that's his other receiver, Bateman. I could be wrong. I'm sorry. I just know particular players, right? I don't know the filler players. I know the players who make plays all the time, majority of the time, right? Sometimes I know the other players. Granted, it is what it is. I'll get better. Fight me. Nonetheless, Lamar, you turned the ball over 2 times. Mark Andrews, you turned the ball over once, and you miss the game-tying 2-point conversion. Can't do that. They pay you to catch the ball. You got to catch that shit. I don't care if it's snowing. It is what it is. I'm sorry. I'm talking shit from a mic. It's all right. Yep, I'm here talking shit from a mic, but they pay you to catch the ball, so you got to catch it. Lamar, they pay you to throw the ball. You got to throw it and not fumble the ball. That's just it. You balled out. Oh, yeah, my dog. Besides, if you wasn't out, you would be the number 1 quarterback that I want to see win the Super Bowl because you deserve it. You ball out every year, do everything you got to do, carry a team. This year, you've improved extremely. You've thrown the ball, run the ball, limited turnovers. You have been amazing, and I just don't know what happened once this game happened. I understand the weather. It just seems like Buffalo's the kryptonite to the Ravens and Lamar at this point. Josh Allen and them is the kryptonite to them, just like Mahomes is the kryptonite to them, right? It's just facts. The facts are the facts. It's just year in and year out. This is what happens all the time. So Lamar turned the ball over 2 times. Isaiah likely, Zay Flowers was hurt and out of the game, right? Let's see. What did Lamar have in this game? Let's see as far as yards. Because I'm not sure. I am not sure what Lamar had. Give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Ooh, no. Why it keeps giving me... Yeah, NFL. So, we're here. Lamar had 18 for 25, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. So that interception that Lamar threw blew my mind, right? Because it was so uncharacteristic of him. It looked like he just lobbed it up. It doesn't even look like it didn't even look like he meant to do it, honestly, right? It was heartbreaking. I don't like to see Lamar Jackson lose, right? Because he's the most coolest, chillest player ever, right? And he always takes accountability for himself, his team, and his teammates, right? So it's hard to see somebody like him lose, right? Because you can see he's truly tuned in with everything and everyone around him. So that's hard to see him lose. And I'm sorry that hurts a lot to see Lamar lose because that's who I wanted to see win. That's who I wanted to see win the Super Bowl. It just is what it is. So now I got to go to my defaults. Got to go to my defaults because Lamar, grade 8, messed up this game. It's all right. Derrick Henry was a little slow in the beginning, but always Derrick Henry picks up throughout the game. You just cannot hold him. Big beast. Cannot hold him down all game, right? So he had 16 carries for 84 yards, 1 touchdown. Big beast cannot hold him down for too long. Like I said, Isaiah Likely was Lamar's number 1 target in the game. 4 receptions, 73 yards, 1 touchdown. I think if the Ravens gave Isaiah Likely the opportunity to catch that 2-point conversion, he would have caught it. I understand that they wanted Mark Andrews to redeem himself from that fumble because he fumbled in the middle of the field, which was uncharacteristic of him. We could talk about historical shit, but it doesn't matter when you do it when it matters, right? You could not have fumbled in 300 fucking games, but if you fumble in the game that counts, it fucking matters at that point. If you understand what I'm saying. And also, you can not have dropped the pass in 300 fucking games, but when it comes to the divisional round and Lamar, although he messed up twice in this game, he's bringing the team back. He brings his team back to win, put you in a position to win. Then he goes to his veteran to close it out and get that 2-point conversion, and he botches it. Can't happen. And in that interview, post-game interview, I completely understand his frustration. He was mad at himself and he was mad at Mark Andrews. It's completely understandable. I would be too. I would be pissed the fuck off too because they worked so hard, they put a good team together, and now who knows if that team's going to be back again next year like that and as powerful, right? Because they can't hold all those players. They just can't hold all that talent on that team. These men want to be paid, right? They want to be paid. So the Ravens ain't going to be able to pay some of these people. So they're going to lose some defensive players. They're going to lose some offensive players. But you know who they ain't going to lose? They ain't losing the grade 8. They ain't losing him. He ain't going nowhere. I'm not sure what Derrick Henry's future looks like with them. Yeah. Zay Flowers, I hope he gets better. He's going to be able to recover. Congratulations on your All-Pro year. Great. Especially a great turnaround from last year from you botching that game last year. But we're not even going to get into that. Nonetheless, the Ravens going to be all right, though. Because Lamar, grade 8, going to be grade 8 all the time. And this year proved that, how he can improve and become a master of the game. Throw for over, what is it? I think he threw for over 4,000 yards and rushed for over 1,000 yards. Come on. Give him the MVP. Give him the MVP. That's it. I like Josh Allen, but it is what it is. Give Lamar the MVP. So let's get into some of what, the Bills did. The Bills going to be the Bills. They played defense extremely well. The Bills are known for playing well defense. It just is what it is. They're historically known for playing good defense. Josh Allen didn't have the best game. He didn't play stellar, right? He wasn't nothing to talk about for this game. He had 16 for 22, 127 yards, no touchdowns. It just was what it was. Cook played well. He made key plays when they needed them. Although he didn't score, he had 17 carries for 67 yards, but those 67 yards counted. Like, they were critical plays that he made that got them first downs, let them hold the ball for longer than what they needed to, and it is what it is. Coleman, the rookie, played extremely well, right? He's coming into himself. I like that because throughout this year, he's had difficulty, beating coverages and finding space in defenses, and also catching the ball. His job. He's had a problem with that too. He's dropped the ball a few times when he shouldn't have. Like I said, they pay you to catch the ball. It is what it is. I couldn't catch the shit when I play football. That's why I'm talking on this shit right now. Nonetheless, fight me. He's coming into himself. He had, I believe, 2 or 3 good catches this game. Consistent, did his thing. I think he also drew a pass interference call too, which was also great. So Coleman's coming into himself. He's going to be good for the future of Buffalo. Also with Josh Allen and also with Cook. They're a good mix. I'm sure they're going to put more pieces around them. Defensive-wise, the Bills, like I said, they're historically good defensive-wise. I'm not sure what the future holds for the Bills, especially Von Miller getting a little bit older now. Not that he's like top player right now. I'm sure he's at least top 25 or at least top 50, right? But besides Von Miller and some of the other defensive pieces, I'm not necessarily sure what that's going to look like for the near future. But right now, they have a shot to go to the Super Bowl if they could beat KC. I believe that's what they're playing, right? KC, right? As you know, KC is their kryptonite, just like the Bills are the Ravens' kryptonite. It just is what it is. I don't see the NFL letting the Bills beat KC. Because even if KC don't win the Super Bowl, they want to see KC in the Super Bowl because they want the Swifties and all the media attention that KC is going to bring for the NFL. So even if they don't win, they want them in the Super Bowl. So the refs are going to be heavy on the penalties and the bullshit for that game. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it's going to be. But then for the Eagles, I didn't bet for that game. I didn't bet for the Ravens game. So we don't have a bet for that one. Let me just make sure. Oh, no. I did bet for that one. I'm sorry. So I lost that one. Like I told you, we got cooked this weekend. So I put Josh Allen for 168 yards because I saw that he wasn't really passing that much, right? And at minimum, I thought he would at least get the 68. I thought he would at minimum, right? You can expect Josh Allen to get at least the minimum, especially when that bet line start coming down. You see the quarterback's not throwing too much. You see that bet line coming down. You take it to the over. I should have just did it for the under because including the weather, he wasn't really balling out too crazy. But I thought he was going to go for the over. Negative 117, put 54 on that. We lost. It is what it is. Like I said, we got cooked this weekend as far as it goes for the betting. That mistake bet really put us in a bad spot. It is what it is. So you just gotta take your L's with it. So coming up this week, we have the Eagles. The Eagles versus the Commanders, which is gonna be a good game. You know what I'm saying? You got Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. They're gonna ball out. I'm happy to see. I hope Jalen Hurts is healthy enough for this game so that he can perform and do what he needs to do and do it well. I know Jaden Daniels is going to ball out. If he can win and go to the Super Bowl in his rookie year, that is going to be phenomenal for him. I hope that can happen for him. You know what I'm saying? Despite me wanting to see Jalen Hurts get his clout up. You know what I'm saying? I want to see that too. But Who don't want to see the rookie of the year go to the Super Bowl and potentially win it? If that ain't good for publicity, I don't know what is. That's what we want to see. That is exactly what we want to see. And then we got KC versus the Bills. Mahomes and Josh Allen. This ain't nothing new. This ain't nothing new. This shit ain't nothing new. But they're going to ball out because Josh Allen ain't going to come to play because he needs to beat Mahomes because Mahomes is his kryptonite. And Mahomes is going to do Mahomes shit all game. He's going to do what he got to do. Kelsey going to show up. They're going to do what they got to do. And that's just going to be that. And hopefully the Bills can pull it off. That'd be great because, you know, although I'm a KC fan, I'm more of a Bills fan. So the Bills need to pull this through and do what they got to do, right? Just so. Even though I said that Mahomes is my third quarterback that I want to see go to the Super Bowl, that's why he's my third because I don't mind the Bills winning. But over Mahomes and the Bills, I want to see Jaden Daniels or Jalen Hurts get a Super Bowl ring. Just because Jalen Hurts received a lot of adversity. People didn't believe in him, didn't think that he could leave Philly and do what he's doing there at Philly. He needs a ring for that because he's consistently brought them back to where they are right now, right? This is the second year getting to this round. Then you have Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels, who's a rookie out of LSU, received some adversity in college, wherever it is what it is. Wasn't drafted first pick, what she probably should have been, but he got the better spot. Second seed and went to the Commanders, and he's in a better position than Caleb Williams. He couldn't ask for anything better than that. He got weapons around him, people who could play, pretty good defense behind him as well. So let's see what happens with that. So with that being said, this is Bets N Banter. I'm Ty, your host, and I appreciate you spending some time with me here today, going through everything. Next week, I'll come back at you with some more highlights, some bets, and, you know, some more sports talk, and seeing who's going to the Super Bowl. Again, congratulations to Ohio State for winning the first CFB playoff championship. We don't like Ohio State over here. It is what it is. But they are part of the Big Ten. So congratulations to that. Big Ten 2 years in a row winning the national championship. So we could take that because we're tired of the SEC running shit. Like, we're sick of them. I don't want to see any SEC teams win for the next 10 years. I'll be happy with that. Big Ten is our turn. Most players, people who play football, understand that the Big Ten is where we usually go to play, right? We going to Penn State. We going to Ohio State. We going to Wisconsin, Nebraska. These are the teams that if you, and now Rutgers, because they doing all right over there in Rutgers. They're not going crazy, but they're doing okay. They weren't always Big Ten, but whatever. We'll take them. But if you were from the East, the Northeast, you know your conference is usually the Big Ten. That's where you're going to play. But anyways, see you all next week. Like I said, catch you next week. Bets N Banter. Ty signing out. Peace. Appreciate y'all for coming to listen to it. Bye.